So this is something very special, which if we're talking about the triple gem on this level, we're talking about taking refuge in the triple gem on this experiential level.
In ancient times, without begging bowl, a monk's life was not easy.
The way we move, the way we communicate, the way we make money, all of them are really speedy.
And now I try to keep the mind at the center of the body at all times.
Sawadika. Welcome to another edition of Meditation for All, a fact-filled program shown every Sunday morning at 4 a.m. Thai time on the MC channel. I'm Wichuda Satolanan, your host for today. First on our program, meet Venerable Nicholas, who will talk on his last chapter of the series of Buddhist concepts, continuing from last week. He will talk on the meanings of the triple gem. What does it mean to have respect in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha after we know who the Buddha was?
What we think is the difference between an unenlightened person and an enlightened person is that the enlightened person has attained something which the unenlightened person has not. And if you want to be very distinct about that, you can say that it is the body of enlightenment inside oneself. So how can one understand the Four Noble Truths? Well, you can't understand it by intellect on a very mundane level, but you must be equipped with something which allows you to understand that, to see through to the meaning of the Noble Truths. And in this particular case, we'd say it's the body of enlightenment inside oneself. And clues to us are left in the scriptures that this is in fact true. For example, the Lord Buddha had a conversation with one of his disciples who was very enamored by his physical appearance, because the Lord Buddha himself was very beautiful to the eye. He had perfectly proportioned body according to what we call the 32 signs of the great man. And this disciple of his called Vakali used to follow him everywhere and spy on him, because it gave him great pleasure to see the Buddha. He felt joy every time he saw the Buddha. And eventually the Buddha, by banishing him to a place where he could no longer spy on the Buddha anymore. And he was so put in so much sorrow by the fact he couldn't see in the Buddha anymore that he wanted to commit suicide. So he was positioned on the edge of a cliff and was about to jump to his death, when the Buddha created a vision of himself to appear in front of Vakali, teaching him, "He who sees the Dhamma sees me. He who sees me sees the Dhamma." So this means that seeing the historical Buddha in all his glory, with all the 32 signs of his physical body, was not seeing the Dhamma. But the real Buddha must have been something deeper than that. So the real Buddha is not his physical body, but something deeper, which is the body of enlightenment, by implication. Whoever sees the body of enlightenment sees the Dhamma. Whoever sees the Dhamma sees that body of enlightenment. So this is the difference between Siddhartha the prince and Siddhartha the Buddha, is the fact that he attained something different. And this thing which he attained allowed him to understand the nature of reality in its entirety. When we see the Buddha in this way, not just on the surface anymore, but at the very essence of what it was to become a Buddha, then we realize that this experience is not restricted just to the Buddha alone. But again, like the concept of enlightenment, this is something which is open to every person to attain. In fact, according to the tradition left behind for us by the great abbot of Wat Phak Nam, we have this seed of enlightenment inside all of us, but rather like an underground well which has not yet been discovered or which has not yet been reached by an artesian well. If we have not reached it, it's of no use to us. It's only when we can attain to it or we can get down as far as it, then we are able to draw on it and get benefit from it. So this is also found in the Mahayana teachings as well, but it's interesting that within the Theravada tradition, the great abbot of Wat Phak Nam talked about this experience, this essence of enlightenment within every being. When we're trying to meditate, in fact, we are reaching towards this body of enlightenment inside ourselves. Because if we can reach it, then the body of enlightenment is something we can use as a tool to examine about the nature of reality in a way which is not biased or limited by our physical makeup, but which can see beyond that. Something which is like a platform which is so objective that it's not shaken even by looking at things from one lifetime to another or from one realm to another. So this is something very special, which if we're talking about the triple gem on this level, if we're talking about taking refuge in the triple gem on this experiential level, it no longer means something intellectual anymore. It's not merely a rite of passage anymore, but it means attaining something in oneself. In fact, in the Pali language, we say Saranang Gacchami, I go to the Buddha for refuge. So it's as if there is some movement towards whatever this nature of Buddhahood is. And our teacher says that it is moving inwards on the central axis until we can attain Buddhahood inside ourselves. This is what is really going for refuge. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to go to the temple. We don't have to go to India. But we go inwards on the inner axis in order to attain the Buddha inside ourselves, i.e. the Buddha Ratana, which is like the body of enlightenment. It's like a Buddha which is of living crystal inside ourselves. If we attain that, then we attain to a certain degree some part of the enlightenment of the Lord Buddha. On this level of meaning, when we talk about Dhamma, then it is the wisdom which is encapsulated, embodied within this body of enlightenment inside ourselves. Sometimes it's described as a sphere of Dhamma, because often it's spherical in shape, it's spherical at the center of the Dhammakaya itself. And on this sort of level, the Sangha is on a deeper level, whatever protects, whatever nourishes this Dhamma at the center of the body of enlightenment. So this third way of describing the triple gem, or what we are taking refuge in as the triple gem, is in fact something which is very relevant to us, is pretty timeless, and is something which is available to all, not just to monks who have to become ordained to become a member of the Sangha, even girls, even novices, even lay people have the chance to become unified or take refuge in the triple gem directly by their personal experience on this level of definition. So it's this last level of definition of the triple gem which we are very interested in, especially when we are putting so much effort into our practice. Because although we may be monks on the outside, but to become pure on the inside, we need to attain this triple gem within ourselves as well, so that we are Sangha both on the outside and on the inside as well. And this is why some lay people may meditate better than monks. Some lay people may have even a better understanding of what it is to be a monk, because they have it from the inside. And you ask why people like the founder of our temple, Kun Yai, could have such a great knowledge of the scriptures and of Buddhist teachings, even though she was illiterate. Then this is the answer, because she had contact the whole of the time with the triple gem within herself. And this gave her the answers to the questions which she was searching for. Because it was like she had a permanent hardwired connection with the triple gem inside herself. The same body of knowledge which also the Buddha drew upon to teach his disciples and to found this religion of ours. So, often in Buddhism, people are hampered by what they see as a contradiction of the proverb, be a refuge unto yourself, and take refuge in the triple gem. Because on the first two levels of meaning, instead of taking refuge in yourself, you're taking refuge in something outside yourself. This Buddha image, this pagoda, this Bodhi tree, or a personage who passed away 2,500 years ago. In such a sense, this would be like a contradiction. But if we understand the triple gem on the deeper level of experience, suddenly we realize that because the triple gem is part of us, it's the deepest part of us, then this is really what we are going to for refuge. We're taking refuge in ourselves. But in the deepest part of ourselves, which is no longer Nicholas, it's no longer Neil, it's no longer David anymore, but it is something which at the core is the same in everybody, which is the nature of enlightenment itself, which is so pure and free of defilements that it can't be owned by anyone anymore. True self, in effect, but we find it's not self at all. But this is why taking refuge in oneself and taking refuge in the triple gem is not a contradiction. In fact, it's the same thing, but it's two ways of describing the same thing. If we can attain the triple gem inside ourselves, then we attain something timeless, which will help us even beyond death. And within our own tradition, it's especially significant because once people start to attain the triple gem inside themselves, it's like there's a knock-on effect. Especially as more and more people attain Dhammakaya, then it becomes easier for others to attain Dhammakaya as well. It's like we're reversing the trend of deterioration, which I mentioned ever since lesson 2, in the downturn of the quality of life, which is mentioned in the Aganya Sutta. This is the real key to reversing the effects. Once this starts to happen, especially as a certain critical mass of people is attained, who can attain Dhammakaya, then the climate will start to change in a better way, pollution will be less, people will forget what they were fighting about when they're having wars with one another, because they will look beyond that to see fellowship in the world. They won't see themselves as separate from other people. They won't have the reason to fight just because someone has drawn a border between their country and the next one. Because they see that inside everyone is all the same. This is really the reason why our abbot likes to teach Dhammakaya. If you ask what's in it for him to teach Dhammakaya to other people in the world, he doesn't do it just to get more disciples or more followers. Why should he bother to teach people who are not Buddhist about meditation? Well, the reason is that he hopes that if people understand more about meditation, one day they too will attain and they will understand things for themselves. So it's not our idea to convert people to Dhammakaya or convert people to Buddhism, but simply to give as many people in the world the possibility to understand the nature of peace inside, the nature of reality which they can understand through that peace which they attain inside. And then world peace will take care of itself. So this is really the big picture of why in our own temple we have so many outreach projects. instead of simply being content with, oh, well, I've attained Dhammakaya now, I just go and sit under a tree and be happy. But we feel that we must give something back to society, because this is the key also to making sure our bigger environment, our wider environment, can come to peace and harmony as well. So what I've talked about today is, by way of summary, building on all the other things I've talked about over the last 10 days, whether it be the subjects of death and rebirth and karma. It all is linked together with this final thing which we must try to do, which we should expend our effort in doing, which is to attain the Triple Gem within ourselves, to take refuge in the Triple Gem inside ourselves, and to help to spread this for the benefit of others in the world. 10 sessions is in fact a very short summary of what we have in Buddhism. In a way, it doesn't really do justice to Buddhism at all, because there's so much more which I haven't talked about. If you're here for 2 months or 3 months, then there's plenty more to talk about without repeating myself, about how Buddhism can be applied to all sorts of things, about the nature of the defilements in the mind. But we have only a limited time. But what I hope you've got from listening to some of the things we've been talking about on this course is at least to whet your appetite to want to study more. As I mentioned in the beginning, the knowledge in the scriptures passed down to us is not just a book like this, something like the Bible, but it's a whole bookcase. The Buddha was alive for many years, and he preached for as many as 45 years, every day, day and night. So the teachings which have been preserved are very complete. He taught on nearly every subject to people of nearly every sort of walk of life. He preached to monks, he preached to lay people. And if you can, you should take the opportunity to read some of the Buddhist scriptures for yourself, so that you get more than just someone else's opinion about what they thought the Buddha taught. If you start to read it for yourself, I think you feel much more intimate with how the Buddha taught, the way he taught, the way he used words when he was teaching.
Bintabat is a Pali word, literally means the receiving of rice in an alms bowl. Lord Buddha stated that monks must seek alms so that they will have enough time to meditate and study the teachings in order to offer something back to alms giver. In this edition of Buddhist culture, you will learn the significance of that alms bowl that means more than just a container of food.
It is the gift of both, for both who gives and accepts. It endows both the promising life, enlightenment for one, and a better day for the other. It is the food for living, and the food to earn the life. Giving alms and begging bowl, the activity that turns the wheel of eternity. Begging bowl, the gift of life. Begging bowl is not for a beggar. It is especially for the wise man who visions the endless life of rise and fall, love and hatred. Then only need is food to maintain the life of the living body under the three robes. It is the symbol of the man who wants to get away of the cycle of rise and fall, gain and loss, love and hatred. And absolutely he wants to be seated on the place of entirely joyful peace, of immortality called nirvana. The first giving of the day, the activity aims to fulfill life's potential and make a better day. By the begging bowl, the ordinary food is turned to be the food for enlightenment. For them, their new day is brightened up by giving life to the living enlightenment. And for the Buddhist monks, they sustain their living bodies for further study and deeply touch of absolute truth for entirely enlightenment. Yes, more experience of practical meditation is promising. The begging bowl makes all this possible. It is said that the begging bowl was earthenware. Firstly, at the early age of Buddhism, begging bowl was made from well-prepared mud, baked in very high temperature. It resembled the earthen pots of ancient eras. It took more time, and by the very special method that the color of the bowl became darker or black, and the bowl itself was hardened beyond any ordinary pot. Some said that the baking technique may bear a resemblance to the making of charcoal in the present day. But the origin of the shape remains unknown, as well as the reason why the begging bowl should be like this. One tale said that the shape of the begging bowl came from the curve of a cashew nut. In ancient times, cashew nut around the northern part of India was very big, and some said that it was big enough to be the bowl. Yet, this is a tale without confirmation. But in truth, earthenware keeps food warm and does not radiate heat out. It is safe for the monks. And when food is cool, earthenware can keep it fresh for a considerable length of time. This is good for the food. It is easy to clean, and smells do not linger on the inside. Today, begging bowl made of mud is very rare. Metal bowls are widely used. They are easier to make and to carry along, beneficial, because begging bowl is one of the Buddhist monks' few personal belongings. A monk may possess only one begging bowl. It is changeable only on the reason that the old one was damaged or lost. A begging bowl comes with a support base or stand. The base is separate from the bowl itself and allows the bowl to be laid upright. Many monks like having their meal in the bowl. Having support base is good for them while they have their meal. The begging bowl is one of Buddhist monks' personal belongings. especially in the old times. The traveling monks who made pilgrimages earned their journey together with personal belonging. And the begging bowl is a necessity because it provides the sustenance to maintain the life of the living body under the three robes. In ancient times, without begging bowl, a monk's life was not easy and maybe impossible. Begging bowl is the symbol of asking for food. The monk will not give any word of asking, only stand quietly and peacefully for a while in front of the village household's door. And by this peaceful manner, the Buddhists or even non-Buddhists will understand. In past eras, the traveling monk could have only the food in the bowl for his meals. Monks only consume a morning and midday meal, and he must return to his shelter or temple to have his meals. Whatever is left over from the morning meal becomes the midday meal. And some monks enjoy only one meal a day, either only the morning or the midday meal. The begging bowl is the symbol of contentment. It emphasizes true need. It encourages the life of living on the track of awakening, aiming for only the real enlightenment of absolute truth. With begging bowl and the three robes, Lord Buddha folded his robes, placed the inverted bowl on the robes, and said to his chief disciple, Ananda, "Ananda, stupa should be like this."
Thinking without boundaries, creativity will result. Being willing to face challenge, strength will increase. Practicing meditation, virtues will grow. Now, it's time to join Venerable Somsak Piyasilo in a meditation practice.
We live our life nowadays at really a high speed. And the way we move, the way we communicate, the way we make money, all of them are really speedy. That's why we lose peace. We are running out of peace and we don't see the beauty along the path we go past. But in meditation, it is a good news for all of us. Meditation can help reduce the speed of the mind. And if you practice meditation often, you are a regular meditation practitioner, you will realize how meditation can reduce the speed of your mind and increase the degree of peace in each activity of the life. Now it's time to meditate again. So look for the best favorite corner when we want to sit, and then you may drink a glass of warm water and then settle down. You can sit on the floor, you can sit on the chair, you can sit on the cushion, wherever you like, as long as the back is kept erect in order to prevent yourself from the pain. Now you are ready and I am ready. So we close the eyes softly. Close the eyes so softly. There is no reason to force the eyelids so tight. We just allow them to touch one another softly. Feel the relaxation that's increasing right now. We can take a good deep breath in order to relax and release all the tensions. Breathing, when it's deep, it helps relax and release at the same time. Relax the entire physical body now, as if it is dipped into the lake of relaxation. Every part of the body is relaxed. Once the body is relaxed, the mind is getting more relaxed as well. And the mind is now going at a slower speed because we are now ready to meditate. When we take a deep breath deeper into the body, now let's do it. The passage of the in-breath doesn't end at the lungs. It goes deeper down into the stomach. Now try again another time. It goes and reaches the middle of the stomach. Then it starts to turn out. Now we learn the far end of the in-breath. We know now where it is. The turning point of the breath is inside the middle of the stomach. This is where the mind is supposed to come to a standstill, right inside. This is the point of really good balance. It is where the body is in good balance. It is also where the mind is in best balance. So the turning point of the breath is where the physical body and the balance of the mind come to meet. We get connected, both body and mind over here. So allow the mind to come in and stay inside at the turning point here. The mind now learns to settle down peacefully at the turning point. The mind is slower and slower as time passes by. When the mind starts to stop, peace starts to grow. So we feel more peace right inside the center of the stomach now. Peace will happen every time the mind starts to stop, and we have learned, we have practiced little by little how to keep the mind stop and stay still right here. Learn slowly to keep the mind still inside together. The process will be little by little. We don't use high speed to make the mind stop. We use a low speed, slower, slower, until the mind learns to stop. And peace will grow. In the area of the center of the body, at the turning point here, is the kingdom of peace. And Lord Buddha specifies the shape of the mind at the kingdom of peace here, that it is of a sphere. So the mind is still in the kingdom of peace, in a sphere environment. there exists a sphere form of the mind right inside the stomach. We take a deep breath again to reconfirm the existence of peace in the form of the sphere. The original state of the mind is bright, as taught by Lord Buddha. So the sphere inside is shining bright. Just be there and experience the feeling of brightness in its sphere form gradually. Just be there and welcome brightness inside. It's like the moon shining bright in the mind. So we just welcome the appearing full moon inside our mind together. Let the full moon ride high in the middle of the body. Now speed of the mind is becoming zero. The mind learns to stand still. Every time the mind is motionless, we are creating peace. We can generate peace by having the mind motionless. If the mind stops driving, it's like we park the mind right inside the center of the body. Each time we park the mind, peace arises and the moon is riding high. If we park the mind, the moon rides high. So now enjoy the riding moon shining aglow in the center of the body for a while. Now let our shining moon share its light to everyone. When we have peace from being motionless, but others are still speedy, they don't have peace like we are having now, we can share the feeling of peace from our motionlessness to them. The silvery light of the moon is spreading to all sides. 360 degrees, we expand the mass volume of brightness of our inner moon. It glows in all directions, and we can share peace to everyone. In everyday life, we learn how to slow down, and when we talk to them, they will notice the change we have made. We are slower, and then they will learn from us how to slow down again. So the know-how of slowing down can be transferred. We recommend them how to slow down the mind, how to get more peace, how to see more beauty of everyday life. So now we are the beginning of peace for all of the folks we have contact. Before we leave the speed zero moment, we can count down slowly from 9 to 0. Let the speed be 0 always, or as much as we can hold. From 9 to 0. And then, if we are ready, really slowly, we can open up. Take a good deep breath again to confirm the existence of the turning point, the point where the speed of the mind is always 0. Welcome back to the world. When you come back this time, you are better off. The mind is more peaceful. You learn how to slow down the speed of the mind. Every time you meditate, you are happier. Congratulations for being able to slow down and talk to people who you know about how to slow down the speed of the mind by teaching them meditation and the turning point. Have a good time, have the best time with the mind that is slower. Until we meet again next time. สวัสดี
Next, meet another participant of the Middle Way Meditation Retreat. Mr. Lim is from Malaysia, whose record of practicing is breathing meditation, and he found that stilling the mind at the center of the body is quite easy and improves his meditation. He would like everyone to try. Meet him in the next interview with Jinda Limsakul.
สวัสดีครับ I'm Jinda Linsgun. I'm at สวนเพชรแก้วเชียงใหม่ and now I'm with one of participants in the 6th Middle Way Meditation Retreat. สวัสดีครับ
Sawadee krap.
Okay, could you tell me your name and where you're from, please?
My name is Lim. I'm from Malaysia.
Okay, and how did you know about this program?
I learned about this program from the internet, from the website, and that's how I came to know that this place is.
Have you ever learned about meditation before?
Yes, I learned through. It started with a Dharma talk by a British monk who inspired me to get into meditation, and it was the type where it's known as the breathing meditation. So every time he was talking about the beautiful breath, and that's how I learned the type of meditation. And from this retreat, I have gathered that there are other ways of doing meditation. And from here, I managed to try to adapt what I have been doing with the method that has been imparted here through the retreat.
And how is different?
Well, this meditation technique it teaches you how to focus your mind and put it at the center of your body, which is described as 2 fingers above the navel. But there is, even though there is this emphasis on the center of the body, as long as you're able to put it somewhere around there, that is not so important at this moment for a beginner, as I understand it. Yes. So I have been able to, I managed to adapt the breathing technique with this center of the body, using my breathing exercises and letting the mind stay around the center of the body. Yes. And it has helped me to relax much easier and faster.
Okay.
Yes.
And about meditation is universal. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with that because this meditation it transcends races, religion, age. Anybody can do it. Yeah. And it calms the mind. It makes a person peaceful. You're able to focus on the things that you do, and it controls a person's temper.
Okay, and what is the most impressive meditation experience here?
Well, if I can call that impressive,
Maybe the best one you have.
Yes, I think the one that I had was the feeling that there was this floating sensation, and as if like the hands have disappeared.
So, and after meditation, how do you feel for the rest of the day?
Oh, very peaceful, calm, and happy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, and what's technique in meditation to calm your mind down? What's your own technique?
As I described just now, I use the breathing technique and try to place the mind onto the center of the body. And now I try to keep the mind at the center of the body at all times. I try to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you like the place around here and the program we have? How do you like it?
Oh, this is a wonderful place for meditation retreat. And as far as the program is concerned, it is very well thought out. And I think by putting the participants with the nature, it helps in the entire retreat. Yes. Just keep it up.
Okay. And what have you learned about this program, out of this program so far?
What have I learned? Okay. Well, I've learned how to at least improve on my meditation technique, and of course I would continue to strive to look for what we call I think I was told some level of happiness called peace of mind. Yes.
Okay. And are there anything news to you here?
As far as the technique is concerned, yes, I learned something new, and the place itself is a wonderful place to be. Yes.
Is this a surprise for you for not having a dinner?
Not so much. I have been skipping meals, especially lunch. But so now not having dinner may be something new, but it's all right. I can get used to it.
And if you have a chance to come back here again, would you like to come back?
Yes, certainly. Most likely to be this year.
And how would you recommend this program to others?
Yes, I would. I certainly would recommend this program to other people. I just came from a nearby temple. Yes, and I was told that they also have the same kind of retreat, but very different. And I find that this retreat here is more personal, as well as it puts you back into the simple, basic way of living, not the luxurious way where you have good living and good food. Yes.
And with meditation, how would you apply it to your daily life?
Well, I would what do you call it? Whatever problems that I have, I would first try to think about it, and because of the technique that I've learned, it seems that now I'm calmer, and I should be able to think about my problem first without coming to any conclusion. Yeah, and that will help greatly in my life. Yes.
Okay, and what would you like to say to the audience of DMC at home?
Continue to meditate.
Okay. And anyone you'd like to thank in particular?
I'd like to thank everyone that I know.
Okay.
Yeah, and particularly the organizers of this retreat,
Okay.
for giving me the opportunity to learn. Yes, and I'll continue to learn.
Okay. And anything else you'd like to say?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับ
Now it's time to say goodbye. I hope you enjoy the program. See you again next week. Goodbye. สวัสดีค่ะ